What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to that weird bit of your life where a dude who's still in his pyjamas at 5 PM talks shit about horror movies at you. What on earth are you doing with your life? Seriously. Today I'm going to be talking about a 2000 movie by George A. Romero. His return after an absence of 7 years or so. A little revenge movie called Bruiser. Of course, the film's directed, as I said, by George A. Romero. It stars Jason Fleming, Peter Stormare and Tom Atkins, amongst others. The plot tells the story of Henry Creedlow, who is a man who works for a fashion and beauty magazine, I guess, called Bruiser. And his life is depressing, to say the least. He constantly slips into fantasies of violence and suicide and homicide and murder and whatever else. His wife is cheating on him. He's been double crossed by one of his best friends, and he feels an urge for revenge. And suddenly one day his face is just replaced by a kind of plain, featureless kabuki mask type thing, and this gives him the opportunity to indulge his revenge in whatever way he sees fit against all those who have wronged him in his perception. So he goes out, he starts taking revenge on people who have crossed him in the past. The local police begin investigating as this serial killer by the name of Faceless makes the news. Obviously Tom Atkins plays one of the cops because he always plays a cop. So they go on the hunt for Henry to see if they can catch up with this faceless menace. Now, conceptually speaking, I give this film like a 10 out of 10, man. I think that is an awesome concept, man. I'm quite a big fan of revenge movies. I think revenge is always an interesting narrative in horror and stuff. I also love this kind of incorporated supernatural idea of this guy who's given this opportunity somehow to just remain faceless and to indulge in, kind of committing the acts of revenge that he so longs for. I really like that idea as well. I think that all round this is just a cool, watertight concept for a movie. Is it necessarily executed perfectly? No, but only on the level of it, the story kind of lets itself down a little bit towards the end. This movie starts off fine, the establishing stuff, explaining who this person is, who this character is, that's all fine. Like I say, I've got no problems with that. You get to the point where the violence starts and all of that's fine, really enjoy that, that's fun, but the story just seems to take a dip sort of 2/3 of the way through, and the pace just really falls, and all this sort of interpersonal stuff with him and the people he trusts and stuff, it just doesn't really fulfill much in the movie, I feel. I mean, that aside, like I say, in terms of a concept for a movie, I think that Bruiser has just a great concept. Like I say, I think that that's these sorts of movies, these revenge movies, are always kind of what if movies, and this is a movie about what if you could enact these sort of things without any real repercussion. How would that go down? Any movie that kind of does a bit of a what if thing is already on a good footing with me. And yeah, I feel like this one kind of nails it conceptually. As I say, the narrative doesn't always carry it perfectly, but overall I think it does a pretty good job. Of course, being a Romero film, it does require a touch of the claret, and this one does deal a fair amount of that. It is pretty fun, especially towards the start in some of Henry's sort of violent fantasies of murder and suicide and whatever. There's a scene where he fantasizes about killing his wife with an axe, and that sort of thing, and it's all very well staged with really cool special effects. So yeah, that really is a fun aspect of the movie. I've got to say, when the ending rolls around, it does feel a bit anticlimactic. There is some stuff there that I kind of struggle to wade through. It does seem to end on a bit of a bum note. in terms of trying to execute the type of ending it wants. That said, it's not all bad though. The actual final scene of the movie, kind of after the anticlimactic ending, is pretty entertaining and I really enjoy it. Obviously I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to go into too much depth about that. But I mean, I will tell you this, and if you want to miss this, you know, go at the time mark so you can just skip to the next bit of the review. Basically, once he's, you know, finalised all his revenge and stuff, the mask disappears, the mask slips away from his face and he's able to, you know, slip away unnoticed, and he moves on and starts a new life. And yeah, all of that's kind of cool. Like I say, I just think that that's a really cool idea for a narrative, and I've got to really credit Romero for that, because, you know, we all know that this guy's capable of some very intelligent ideas. I mean, the guy wrote Night of the Living Dead, for fuck's sake. Like I say, this little what if idea that they've planted into this movie is just really, really fun. I keep going back to it. I think it's a really cool idea. I guess in summary, I'd have to say that Bruiser is a really intelligent concept that isn't always executed perfectly. On a visual level, the film is fine. In places, it's stunning. And despite the kind of, you know, the dip in the quality as it goes on story-wise, I do think that the movie is overall worth a watch. And even though the ending's a bit anticlimactic, there is still fun to be had with this movie. Overall, I've got to say, it's not one of my favourites from Romero, but, you know, we're looking at a guy who is probably my favourite director of all time, so the standard is very high. Overall, I'm going to give Bruiser a 7. I do think that this is an enjoyable enough movie that you should check out if it sounds like something that might be fun to you. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Luke Innes. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please go down in the description, follow the link to check out my podcast called Ironcast, and it's all about music. Also, if you want to be extra superb, why not visit my Amazon wishlist and order me something off there to review. If you do that, I will most certainly give you all the sex. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you very soon.